Aliyah Boston is injured, done for Unrivaled season, could potentially miss USA basketball, could potentially miss time with the Indiana Fever. The severity of the injury is not out, but the fact that we even have to worry about this is nasty.
Aliyah Boston is sidelined, and the entire Indiana Fever community is anxiously waiting for clarity. Right now, no one knows how serious the injury is. Her potential role with Team USA is suddenly uncertain. The WNBA season hasn't even tipped off, and considering everything already unfolding around the league, this could not have come at a worse time. What seemed manageable yesterday has quickly turned into a far more complicated situation overnight. Now the bigger questions begin. Is Boston's injury the result of players having to log extra minutes in off-season leagues because WNBA salaries don't fully compensate them? And with this development, does the urgency surrounding the next CBA negotiations just intensify even further? Share your honest perspective in the comments right now.
Nasty work. We don't know how bad this injury is. She could be out for the season. We don't know. We don't know what's going on. We need to get a deal done and stop with all this foolishness. Stop with all this 3-on-3 and all of this other stuff, man. Get a deal done so that we can start the real games, okay? People are getting hurt left and right. It was a lot of injuries in Unrivaled. A lot of injuries. I think Kayla McBride suffered a
Let's begin with the facts we actually have, because the limited information released so far has been incredibly unclear, and that lack of clarity is part of the issue. Aliyah Boston exited Phantom BC's regular season finale against Rose BC on February 27th after sustaining what the team officially labeled a right lower extremity injury. She headed back to the locker room and did not return to the floor for the remainder of the matchup. Phantom BC ultimately secured the win, and Boston appeared to be in relatively positive spirits afterward. Still, that broad injury designation provides almost no real insight into what occurred or how significant the setback might actually be.
Aliyah Boston, who left Phantom BC's last regular season game with injury, has been ruled out for the rest of the season due to a right lower extremity injury. That is very vague. That could be a sore calf. That could be an Achilles. That could be an ankle, a foot. We don't know what's going on. It could be a knee. We don't know what lower extremity. That's very vague. That's very, very vague. Unrivaled only has 3 days left of play.
Right lower extremity injury is an umbrella term that can mean almost anything, from simple calf tightness to a rolled ankle, a stress fracture, an Achilles concern, or even a knee issue. It's the type of carefully chosen medical wording teams rely on when they want to confirm that an injury occurred without revealing the true nature of it or offering a timeline for return. When the problem is minor, organizations are usually direct. They'll label it a slight ankle sprain or describe the player as day-to-day. That level of detail is common when the outlook is short-term. The fact that this has been framed only as a right lower extremity injury signals one of two possibilities. Either the medical staff is still evaluating and does not yet have a full diagnosis, or the organization knows more than it is currently prepared to disclose publicly.
Team USA, because she was running around playing in this 3-on-3 league, now she done suffered a lower extremity injury. She might miss Team USA. Who knows? It might be a real serious injury, and she missed time with the Indiana Fever. And who needs that? This is a crucial season.
Regardless of the reason, that lack of detail is unsettling, and fans of the Indiana Fever have every reason to feel uneasy, especially after watching Aliyah Boston elevate her game to another level during the Unrivaled season. Before we even begin to discuss what her absence could mean, it is important to clearly outline what she actually accomplished with Phantom BC in 2026. Boston averaged 19 points per game, the second highest mark among centers across the entire Unrivaled league. She expanded her offensive range, knocking down more than one three-pointer per contest while shooting 33% from beyond the arc. She pulled down 9.7 rebounds per game and led the league in shot blocking at 2.1 blocks per night. Most impressively, she completely reshaped Phantom BC's defensive identity, taking them from the worst defensive unit in the 2025 season to the second-best defense in 2026. limiting opponents to just 66.5 points per game.
Injury update raises concern about USA status. Indiana Fever star Aliyah Boston's recent injury makes her Team USA status unclear. Boston has impressed a lot of people during her time. This is courtesy of Sports Illustrated and Robin Lundberg as well. Boston has impressed a lot of people during her time with Phantom BC in the 2026 Unrivaled season. I feel like she was robbed too. She should have been MVP. She should have been first team. All of
Rest for players. At the same time, a new generation of talent is emerging, including athletes who have not even entered the WNBA yet, such as Paige Buchers. Under this proposed structure, their earning potential looks completely different from anything previous players experienced. The veterans laid the groundwork for the league. They competed during seasons when the average salary barely compared to an entry-level office job, or even what someone might make in generous tips on a busy Friday night. They kept the league moving forward in years when television ratings were modest and arenas often had large sections of empty seats. That commitment deserves recognition. However, professional sports leagues rarely operate based on rewarding what was built in the past. Their primary focus is forecasting what can generate revenue in the future, and the players expected to drive that future growth are younger athletes whose names are already widely recognized. So when the league announces a rule stating that any player on a rookie contract who earns all league honors can secure a maximum contract in their fourth season, it is clearly signaling where it believes the next wave of value is coming from. What the league is essentially signaling is simple. It understands exactly which players are driving revenue, and it wants to ensure those players remain in the WNBA. By attaching major financial incentives to their contracts, the league is making it more appealing than ever for its most valuable young stars to stay. From a business standpoint, that strategy makes perfect sense. However, veteran players who are no longer on rookie contracts and therefore do not benefit from this clause are likely to have strong opinions about it. The underlying message within the proposal, even if it is never openly stated, is that the league's long-term future is being placed on a specific group of players, and it is not necessarily those who have been in the league the longest. The Indiana Fever offer a clear example of how complex this situation can become within a team structure. Aliyah Boston, for instance, would be eligible for a maximum contract as soon as 2026. Kelsey Mitchell has been an important part of that roster for several seasons. However, under the current salary framework, a team can only have one player on a maximum contract at a time. That means the Indiana Fever will eventually have to make a difficult decision. And that decision becomes even more complicated when you consider that Caitlin Clark could become eligible for a max contract in 2027. If you are sitting in the Fever's front office, your focus cannot be limited to the upcoming season alone. You also have to plan for what the roster will look like when your franchise cornerstone becomes eligible for the largest contract the league allows. That financial space needs to be prepared well in advance. Every dollar committed to other players today could make that moment more challenging. Because of that reality, the moves being made during this fast-paced and somewhat chaotic free agency period are not simply about building a team capable of winning in 2026. They are also about setting up the financial and roster flexibility needed for 2027 and the years that follow. Teams that fail to plan that far into the future may find themselves in a very difficult position when that moment finally arrives. Now take a step back for a moment, because there is a larger picture here that goes far beyond any single team or individual contract. The recent revenue-sharing payout, $8 million distributed to players from the 2025 season, represents a defining turning point for the league, marking a clear before and after moment in its financial evolution.